is the Turtle Dork with a new recap and reaction video. If you could only see what happens prior to us hitting record, or even after we hit record.
Probably for the best that you don't.
But all that stuff gets edited out, and we start from here. This is the recap and review for The Bear and the Maiden Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure I got that right. The Bear and the Maiden Fair, directed by one Michelle McLaren. I'm sure if you're in this world, in this circle, you've heard that name a lot. She's directed a lot of television. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. I'm the Turtle Dork, this is the Disco Dork. Let's do it. What I got here, Talisa's pregnant. Yeah,
got a bun in the oven.
Got a bun in the oven, man. And again, on rewatch, knowing what's coming, all of these scenes that play really, really sweet and just really lovely has a very dark undertone to it now. And when she, they end up making love again, and she tells him that she's pregnant. And you made a joke too, because she was writing a letter to her mother. And you said, this is how we say, like, who you texted. He was like, who you writing that letter to? I thought that was kind of funny, but she was writing a letter to her mother, and he was saying, like, you know, you're gonna tell your mother that you're a queen, being married to the king of the north, and she kind of throws in that, I'm carrying your child, and you're gonna have a little prince. And it's a scene that plays really, really lovely, but we ultimately know what's going to end up happening and the impending doom of that. So what you think of that opening?
Sad. Wait, that was the opening?
That was the second scene.
What was the opening?
That was Egret and John at the when they were walking. And you say she was showing out because she's on the other side of the wall.
Oh yeah, she's south of the wall now, so she happy. So she really showing out for John. She keep busting his balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I mean, I'm happy for her because she's never been south of the wall. And,
Egret, yeah.
Yeah, Egret, and she's with John. And like she says later on, we'll get to this later on.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be that when they do their assault on Castle Black and they end up dying, and they die, if we die, we die. But before that, we live. And before you even hear her say that in this opening scene, you see her actually living those words. She's taking advantage of, she's not taking for granted where she is. She's just enjoying, like, seeing all these new things.
Being somewhere for the first time.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really cool. But to your point about the scene between Rob and Talisa.
Yeah.
This go around, like, I take no pleasure in that. Like, it's not a cute scene. It's not a lovey-dovey scene. I mean, it plays that way. That sentiment is there for those particular characters, but they don't know in like 2 episodes the shit that's about to go down. But I do, and the shit ain't good. And it hurts. It's just like what I was saying in the last episode with Stannis' daughter, and how
it's hard for you to watch those scenes. It pains me
to see her, watch her, knowing what's coming, and it's that way with Rob and Talisa. Like, even like I said, I keep referencing, like, the moment they consummate that, when they tie the knot under the tree, like, it just, you
seal in their face.
It's so I'm so regretful. Like, man, it's just I wish you wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
but
ultimately, I mean, for good television, I mean, it's drama, and ultimately for us not wanting that, it ultimately is something that we want, so that we can have these moments and have these reactions and have something to talk about. So, but I want to stick with Egret because there was a scene between her and Orell. But it's basically he's a jealous ex-boyfriend.
Nah, he's not he's
acting that way.
He's not a jealous ex-boyfriend. He
wants to get with her.
Yeah, he's the jealous dude that's in the friend zone that wasn't even in the friend zone.
Yeah. So is this worse or better than Jorah?
This is better than Jorah.
It's better than Jorah?
Yeah, Jorah's okay.
Yeah, you're right. Because at least Orell is telling her. Like, Jorah doesn't even say anything to Dany.
Yeah, she's oblivious to it. At least Egret knows.
Yeah.
Dany is oblivious to it. That's the worst thing about being in the friend zone, when the person don't even know that you feel that way.
Exactly.
And you doing everything in your power, like outside of saying it, Jorah has said it with actions like 100 times over. So really, he shouldn't have to say anything. But that's the worst. But and also, Ygritte ain't touch your boy in the face. No,
she has it. She
touched him in the face.
I know. And he was just fucking melted like butter.
Sad. So sad.
Anyway, But Orell is like, look, I can make you happy. You know, I could give you all these things. It's like, do you love Jon Snow? And I don't know. I just found that interesting because now you can see a lot of where that attitude from Orell is coming that he's giving towards Jon Snow.
Not that I have a problem with Orell feeling that way or that particular scene happening, but for me, we could have done like without that because it already makes sense for him to feel that way just because Jon is an outsider. It doesn't even need to have that that romantic love triangle. Not even a love triangle.
It's not really a love triangle, but especially if that doesn't go anywhere. Well, ultimately, it's not really going to go anywhere. So you're right. That at this point right now feels like it's inconsequential to any of the plot, story, or character.
Yeah.
What I got next? Oh, Marjorie and Sansa when they're in the garden talking about Tyrion. Because of her having to get married, and it's funny how she's hesitant to say the reason why she doesn't want to marry Tyrion. And Marjorie is not feeding into it as well. It's like, look, Tyrion, has he ever treated you poorly? You know, he treats you kind, and she's like, yeah, but it's him. And it's like, what's wrong with him? And she finally says, it's like, look, he's a dwarf. But I mean, I can understand. I get from her point of view why she's a bit hesitant. As far as being married, outside of also him being a dwarf, just her being stuck at King's Landing and now still having to be married to the Lannister and being tied to that family. But I don't know, I just found that interesting, just the conversation back and forth between Marjorie and Sansa.
How this conversation played out, and I wasn't thinking this and feeling this while we were watching it a few minutes ago, but thinking about that scene and how it plays out now, I was surprised by Marjorie's reaction to the news. Firstly, that she would be marrying Tyrion instead of her brother, right?
Yeah.
And when she's talking to Sansa, she's trying to put Sansa at ease about marrying Tyrion instead of her brother, and she's basically saying, you know what, everything will still be all right. I'm going to be a queen, and you'll be married to Tyrion. She's not upset. She's not pressing it. She's like, all right, let me figure out. So that makes me feel like it also goes to what I was saying about remember how I was like, man, I'm not sure how I feel about Margie now. I'm not sure like why now I definitely feel like her going to Sansa and saying, hey, you're going to marry my brother. Now I definitely feel like that's strictly like power play shit, like political move. Like I feel like it has nothing to do with looking out for the best interests of Sansa.
Okay.
Because I mean, Sansa, she's of course going to marry, is supposed to wed Tyrion, and Tyrion's not going to mistreat her. So it's not. She's right. It's not like she's being given away to like a bad dude.
Yeah. But
at the same time, she doesn't seem overly concerned with the fact that she's not marrying her brother. Like I guess she's got like some other shit going on, or another plan, or whatever. So I don't know. I thought that I found that interesting, but again, it basically verified my suspicions about Marjorie and the fact that she's playing the game for her own ends, and maybe she don't.
Just looking out for
Sansa.
The best interest of Sansa. What I got in there? Joffrey and Tywin in the throne room. You missed a little bit of this because I know you were on the phone. I like this scene because Joffrey called Tywin and he wants to know why he's not being involved in the small council meetings. Well, first he asked him, why aren't you holding the small council meetings in the council chambers, and you're having them in basically where he's staying. I forget the name of the building that he calls it, but he says, because I don't want to have to walk over here. He's like, I'm already over there. I guess it's the Tower of the Hand. That's what it's called. He's like, why are you holding the meetings in the Tower of the Hand? He's like, I need to be informed, like what's happening. And
who said that? Joffrey?
Joffrey, yeah. So I like the big takeaway I take from this is the fact that although Joffrey is king, he's still a boy, and the way he Tywin walks up the stairs to the throne, and he's sitting there, and you can see Joffrey is like nervous because his grandfather is like towering over him, and then they shoot it from high up where Tywin is kind of is over Joffrey. So he is visually telling the story that although you have Joffrey as the king on the throne, Tywin is the one who is standing over top of him.
He's still imposing.
And he's still imposing, and he's ultimately still kind of in control. And I just like the way he played, the way Michelle MacLaren really directed that scene visually to show you the dynamics of that relationship between the king and his hand. Yeah. I really, really liked how that scene was really directed. Let's go to Dany. When she heads to Yunkai.
Oh, yeah.
This is another city that is enslaving people, and Jorah explains that there's about 200,000 slaves. And so they, again, Jorah is trying to advise her. It's like, look, we need to head towards King's Landing. There's nothing in Yunkai for you. And she says, like, how many slaves are there? There's 200,000, and there's 200,000 reasons for us to go there. Because now it's like she's kind of in this place where she wants the throne and she feels that's her right, but also she feels like because of everything that happened at Astapor, that she can be what they call her the breaker of chains and be a person that can free a lot of these slaves that are in Westeros. So now it's almost like she's taking on a new mission. A new cause. So they set up a meeting with one of the lords of the land, and he knows why she's there. So he's offering her money to basically leave them alone. Yeah. I guess, well, not really hush money, but I don't know what you want to call it. But he's basically offering her that, and she's like, look, the money, I'll take this money, but you need to free these slaves and pay these slaves as a debt for their servitude to you. Pay them with either money, food, land, and I don't know. I really like the stance that Dany is taking now as kind of being this breaker of chains, so to speak. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that. What you think of Dany? And when she was talking to old dude, because he tried to threaten her too. Yeah, but it's like now she ain't having that shit.
No, her dragon's big as fuck.
Yeah, man, they getting bigger.
Well, the takeaway this go around was he had mentioned in the conversation with her that he has powerful friends.
That's right.
And after she dismisses him, she asks Jorah, she says it. He mentioned he has powerful friends. Yeah. Who are they? And Jorah said, I don't know. And she says, find out. And so I'm trying to think. I can't remember who they turn out to be. Is it? Remember, like in a few seasons ahead, there was that group of people who they were in that arena place. Yeah. And all that shit popped off, and like those people came out, like those assassin type. It was like black and gold, I think they had. Yeah. Is that somewhere different, or is that?
I want to say that's in Yunkai.
So is that the people that he's talking about?
It could be. I'm not positive, but that could be, because they brought that up for a reason. Yeah. Now, who his friends are, whether it's affiliated with one of the other houses in Westeros, I don't know, or if he's just talking about somebody else that he feels can either withstand or fight against Dany and her army. I don't know, but I do remember that scene in that arena.
If that's them, it makes sense, because they are going to end up being a thorn in her side. They are going to become a problem for her.
Yeah. I do remember that. Let's talk a little bit about that scene with Shay and Tyrion when she's talking. And you know what? This goes back to what you were talking about, where you wanted to kind of pinpoint where it starts. Their relationship starts to kind of it starts to kind of get a little strained. And so watching this, I was thinking about that, and I think this is one of those moments here where we start to see that between the two of them.
Yeah, and if at this point, like, it feels like the show is manufacturing
Oh, really?
this drama to me, because
Okay.
Shay, at this point, Shay is pissed off, obviously, and rightfully so, that Tyrion is to be wed to Sansa.
Yeah.
And that, that throws a wrench in her plans of whatever she foresaw as far as a life with Tyrion in King's Landing.
Yeah.
But the fact that she is as mad as she is, and she's holding it against Tyrion.
Okay.
Shay is not dumb. Like, the show has shown plenty of times that she's
right.
smart. She understands what's going on in King's Landing. She understands how things go to a certain extent, and she knows when to play it cool and how to maneuver. So I mean, she's been there. She's lasted in King's Landing this long. But
Exactly.
even prior to that, just how she grew up, how she came up, all the stuff that she's gone through prior to even meeting Tyrion. Like, she's not dumb. So she I would think that she understands that this is at Tyrion's behest. Like, he doesn't want this either.
Exactly.
And I would think that she believes him when he says that. And I would think that she would understand that he's put in an unwinnable situation. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He has no choice.
Yeah.
And then if you don't want him to do that, like, what do you want him to do? Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, Shay, tell me. Okay, don't marry him, and then what? And
she keeps saying, like, let's just go across the narrow sea. And he's like, look, I can't just pick up and do that. Like, what am I going to do? Like, and she has to be understanding as to that as well.
Yeah, and so I feel like the fact that she is as mad and unforgiving, it feels like it's just so it would make sense that what's going to happen as far as her demise, it would make, we have to have a starting point, and I feel like this is the best that they could come up with, or this is just what they chose to come up with. But for me, personally, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it, but I just feel like it just betrays. It just makes her seem like an irrational person.
It goes against her character as far as like how they establish her so far to this point.
But, and I'm playing devil's advocate with myself, and I just thought about this. It also goes in line with what we talked about in the other episode about Rob leading by his emotions, Caitlyn leading by his emotions, Karstark leading by his emotion, and Shay not leading by logic, but leading by her emotions.
And that's why I was going to point out as well, because even though the show does portray her character as being very smart-minded, I mean, we saw that just with how she handled the women and Sansa during the Battle of Blackwater Bay. Sometimes, like, when you're in love, it can make you do or act or feel irrational and do certain things. So maybe it's just something like that, like you were saying, just a play on emotions and stuff like that. Let's jump to Arya when she's with the Brotherhood of the Banners, and so they promised to take her back to see her family. And so they want to take her to River Run, but one of the men come in, and I guess I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, but they said that there's some Lannisters somewhere, and basically they're going to kind of make a detour to go and fight these Lannisters, and for whatever reason, I don't know if they have going to try to raid them to get gold or whatever the case may be. But Arya's pissed because she's like, "Look, you promised to take me to River Run, and that's west or south." And he was like, and I think Thoros said it'll still be a 2-day journey. When
we get back, basically Winterfell will be there when we get back.
Basically, and so she's pissed, and she's like, "Look, man, I'm out. I'm done. I'm gone." And so they're like, "No, like go get her." And she runs out, and then she gets apprehended by the Hound. Yeah. So this is, I guess, where we're going to start our journey, which I didn't think it started this late in season 3, but it looks like we're probably going to get the meat of it towards the end of this season and probably moving forward in season 4. But so this is when we're going to start our journey between Arya and the Hound, which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Really excited about that.
I want to get into a lot of that storyline. Jamie is about to leave Harrenhal to head back to King's Landing.
Oh yeah.
But he has an interaction with Brienne, and it's basically talking about his debt. And what I really took away from that, where Jamie tells Brienne, he's like, look, I owe you a tremendous debt. And he was like, look, we both promised Lady Stark that we would get you back to King's Landing. And he was like, if you want to pay me a debt, just...
Brienne said this.
Brienne said this, yeah. He was like, if you want to pay your debt, just get back to King's Landing, and he promises to bring give the Stark girls, get them back to Winterfell. And this is an episode, like, even when we talked about his confession about the Mad King, to really kind of establish that relationship between the two of them. This episode, and we're going to get to the bear attack as well, but just seeing Jamie, the connection that Jamie and Brienne are making, I think is really kind of solidified right here in this episode. And I like that moment right before he leaves to head to King's Landing.
Yeah.
What we got next? Ramsay. That's the only thing I write when I take my notes. Ramsay tortures Theon. That's all I got right.
And TurtleDork. You should write Ramsay tortures Theon and me.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, what? See, and we talked about it again. These fucking psychological games, man.
Yeah.
So we know Theon loves fucking. We know that. So he's tied up, and two women come and start to try to seduce him, and he's a little. It was funny though. Well, we'll get to that part. But start to seduce him. And he's like, wait, where is he? Where is he? Like, what are y'all doing here? Who are y'all? And slowly but surely, he starts to kind of, go with the flow.
Yeah.
And these are still games by Ramsay. And as soon as he starts to get into his rhythm...
Your man blew the bugle.
Dude. Oh, man. He got so shook.
You know what? Before we talk about, like, what happens next,
yeah.
I gotta say, man, like... If I was in Theon's predicament, right?
Yeah, man.
I had been spending, God knows how long he's been held captive at this point and tortured. But even outside of the torture prior to him being strung up on that freaking wooden thing, I love me a beautiful woman. And if it's too naked with beautiful, look.
But I know.
But that's the last thing on my mind. If 3 of my fingernails are torn off, 1 of them is split, if my pinky finger on my right hand has been flayed. Look, man, I don't think you noticed when they pulled him down to lay him on that thing. The camera showed his left hand. This nail was split down the middle. Like, it was split down the middle.
Okay, all right. You'll have to show me.
Look, lady, give me some medical attention, and then we can talk about all this. That's the last thing on my mind. But Theon, I guess he's such a hound dog.
I know. He just I don't know. I don't know. And again, Ramsay. Oh, but the way it ends. So now we're going to get to the part where he gets castrated, and he finally, Ramsay is going to take the most important part of his body. Oh man, yeah. This shit with Ramsay is hard to watch. It's hard to watch, man. Jesus. All right, let's move on. Jon and Ygritte, the conversation they had about the windmill. So, she's toying with him and playing around with him and whatnot. But then Jon turns the conversation differently, and he says, like, look, there's no way that you guys can win. I learned about this growing up in the North, that you guys have attacked the wall 6 times and have failed 6 times, and it's going to be a 7th if you do this again. And she says, Mance Rayder is different. And it's like, look, it's not going to be different. There's no way you can win. You guys don't have the manpower. You guys don't work as a team, as an army. You're not going to defeat them. But I just thought that it was a great scene between the two of them, because I think it still establishes, like you were saying, that the bond that they have is like, look, regardless of what happens, if I got your back, you got mine. So I don't know. I just thought that was a really pivotal, I'll say a pivotal scene, as far as like where their story is kind of headed as they head to Castle Black.
Yeah, because at the end of that scene, I had to remind myself, what happens to Ygritte and how it happens and when it happens.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember exactly how and when, and I don't know if it was this early. I don't think it's this season. I think it's next season. I want to say, but
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely a pivotal scene for the two of them. 2 more points, or maybe I think 3 more.
Hold up. What's the dude name that likes her?
Aurel?
Is he the motherfucker that shoot her?
Shit, I don't know.
Cause she gets shot with an arrow.
Yeah,
Does
but
does she jump in front of? Is he the?
oh man,
I kind of feel like it's him that. I kind of feel like it's him.
It would make sense. I mean, I don't know, but I can't recall. I don't even remember how she goes.
She gets shot with an arrow. Like,
spoiler alert.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Somebody's about to kill either John or a boy, and she jumps in front of that shit.
But I think that actually happens That happens
at Castle Black.
At Castle Black,
Yeah.
but it's like during a fight. It's during a war, or doing. I don't know if it's watchers on the wall, or if it's at another point.
Yeah.
Because I think I do remember. I remember something happened at Castle Black, and I know the fight for that was like Watchers on the Wall. Or there may have been another battle or skirmish.
I can't wait to get to that fucking episode.
Man, that shit was woo. Yeah, we're gonna get there soon, man. We trudging along here, so I'm excited. Bran going towards the 3-eyed raven. So Jojen and I point this out just for Osha and Osha telling the story, because she promised that she was going to get Bran to Jon, who's at Castle Black, and Jojen's like, look, we have to go towards the where the 3-eyed raven is, and she's like, look, I don't want to head back there because I know what lies beyond there. And she tells a story about her lover that she had. I think his name was Bruni.
Yeah.
And how he became one of the undead, and just again, I love these monologues that these characters, this is a great show, because sometimes when people start monologuing and telling their stories and you stay on their face, I mean, it's hard enough to do that as an actor, but these actors pull it off, and they pull it off seamlessly when they have these moments like what Jamie had, and now Osha has her moment, and you can just see how she's wearing that on her face when she's telling the story. And I think this is just a really standout scene for her. Yeah. So let's get to it. Jamie returns to Harrenhal and saves Brienne.
So Jamie's taken away. He's going back. He's making his way back to King Landing. Your boy.
Locke.
Yeah,
Tomb Raider guy?
No, Stannis. I guess not Stannis. I mean,
Bolton.
Bolton orders some of his men to escort Jamie back and deliver him to King's Landing. So they make a pit stop, and Jamie's getting his hand treated by
Qyburn.
By Qyburn, and and Qyburn basically says that, well, she because Jamie asks, you're in charge of the Ravens. Was a Raven sent out to Tarth to let Brienne's father know? And he said, yeah, and he offered, her father offered like a bunch of gold dragons for her return. He said, but your boy is not he's not gonna accept it. He doesn't want the money. They're basically gonna end up using her for their entertainment, and because they think that for some reason that Tarth is filled with sapphire, so they feel slighted by the offer of 800 gold dragons when they have an aisle full of sapphire. And Jamie's like, shit, because he in a previous episode he lied to them about if you don't kill her, she's worth a lot because she comes from a place that is rich in sapphire. But and Brienne ends up telling that the place is called that because of the color of the water, not because we have that mineral or whatever, that resource. So Jamie's like, shit, this because I told that lie, because I bullshitted. Now they're gonna kill her. So he instructs that guy to take him back to Harrenhal, and then we get there, and she's in this freaking gladiator pit, sort of, with this grizzly bear, and you can tell she's already been visually cut up by the bear. And Jamie jumps in to save her.
Yeah. And then another great scene for Jamie, and I like the guy that was escorting Jamie when he tries to protect him by taking the crossbow and shooting down there. He's like, "Look, I was ordered by Bolton to bring him back alive, so I'm not going to let him die in this pit."
Yeah.
And him saving Brienne and risking his life, knowing how important he is in this whole war. To go down there and risk his life for Brienne says a hell of a lot. But now knowing the true nature of his story, especially with the Mad King, it's not out of his character to do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I liked everything that I saw in this final scene, and again, just seeing how that relationship between the two of them has flourished and grown from the time that she was escorting him and he just kept giving her shit to this point now, man. It's just been such an arc for his character, for her character, for both of them. It's just been a really, really great arc to watch.
It is, and it actually makes me nervous going into season 8 because
Really?
I don't know how that relationship is going to play out. What's going to happen to both of them if or when they meet up? Because this show, like we sit here and say, oh man, like they gotta end up meeting back up because they have stuff unresolved. But Caitlyn never sees her kids again after the first episode.
Nope, not at all. I mean, and you could say with these first couple of seasons, they're in some ways they may be trying to follow the books, but we know that the last book or last 2 books haven't been written because George R.R. Martin is basically acting like Theon.
Damn.
He loved the ladies. Allegedly. I don't want to put that out there. But,
Damn.
But anyway, so yeah, the last couple books haven't been written, but George R.R. Martin did said he knows how the story ends, and he's told that to Benioff and Weiss. So they're going off and I think that's happened for the last couple seasons, where they've gone off the books, but at least they know the end game. So how they get there and how the books get there when they ultimately come out will probably be 2 separate things, but at least they'll have similar endings. So at least that's the good thing that George R.R. Martin told them at least where the story ends. So it's just how we get there. So I'm excited. But yeah, that is episode, oh man, we're doing so many. 7? Okay, 7, which was The Bear and I cannot read.
The Bear and the Maiden Fair.
Thank you, because I can't read my own handwriting. Jesus. All right. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Remember to rate, like, subscribe, and share. And check out our other dorks. I'm never gonna get it, man. Fuck it. It don't matter.
I be hoping sometimes, like, man, this gonna be the one? Is this gonna be the one? And then you like, nope.
I'm just gonna switch it up. Check out the other dorks at Mouth Dork, at WB Dash, at Sidewalk Siren. I'm the Turtle Dork. This is the Disco Dork. Yeah. See you on the next one.
Peace.